Yeah, so networking is everything in
Hmm.
indie film. You can't get a job, you can't get anyone to answer their phone if you don't know them or have a relationship with them or have the work. For someone starting out, it can be a bit of a catch 22. How, for someone starting out, what would you say is a good advice on how to approach um, a filmmaker or a project that might be a little more established that they want to be a part of?
Wow, more established. I mean, I think it's good to have ambitious goals, especially if you have the work ethic and the personality to follow it up, even though you don't necessarily have the experience. Um, every film set can be really stressful if you let it be, but if you have a team of people who are there to keep each other sane, it makes all the difference. So, it's nice to have people that have been on like however many shoots, but if they've never showed progress on all of those shoots, and then you have somebody new who's hungry and ambitious for it, you're probably going to give them a chance, especially as a production assistant. I guess that's the biggest answer is like join anything as a production assistant. Um, and that can be a different description depending on what kind of project you're on. Like we're used to narrative film.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, I don't find it on like indie projects with narrative film to be like the most grunt work. If you were to be on reality TV, something really legit coming to your area, or if you're going to New York or Philly to find that kind of work, yeah, you're going to have to drive the cars. You're going to have to go get lunch. You're going to have to load and unload the trucks. But you can get a decent paycheck for those. I've done it a handful of times.
And you're going to meet a lot of people too.
Yeah, especially people in your area if you're all like coming from the same general vicinity. I've met a handful of people through that. I got to work on different wedding shows and different like corporate shoots and people either coming to Philly or I'm going outside of Philly because that's where I am right now. I live in Philadelphia. And it's not the most work, but when you find something, you might be seeing the same faces on every shoot. So you tend to give each other your contact information.
Hmm.
And there's kind of like an unspoken bond there of like, hey, if you get a call for a project and they need more people, or if you get a call and you're not available, can you contact me?
Sure.
And that's a great way to get started on the most legit shoots, the big budget projects. Even when we were working out for this wedding show, I forget what it's called. It's like some four weddings show where like the girls rank each other's weddings. It's really horrible.
Oh, yeah. Definite reality TV fodder.
Yeah, and we were out near like
Sure.
Allentown or something, but that was like a good hour drive back to Philly or something longer. And the other guys, the other production assistants, were coming from like Delaware and New Jersey, so they had a really long drive too. And as production assistants, they weren't putting us up in a hotel, and we were doing these wedding shoots that would go on with the interview portion until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm.
And they'd be like, okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Go home now. Wait, I've just been working like, 8 hours straight doing grunt work, and now I have like an hour to a 90-minute drive at 1 in the morning. So I got lucky and I found people who just happened to live nearby, and I called them and I was like, hey, can I crash at your place, sneak in at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then leave early the next day? So yeah, I told all those production assistants, I was like, you guys, I have a spare room at my house in Philly. If you ever work in the area and you can't drive home, just call me and like stay at my place. Because that's the kind of community we are in indie filmmaking. Everybody has to help each other out. It should never be like, oh, I can't take that job because it's too far of a drive for me.
Hmm.
And yet you also have to stay safe. Like nobody should be driving home at 2 in the morning with a 90-minute drive when they're falling asleep. It's
Yeah.
not the 150 paycheck that you're not going to get till 30 days later.
Right. It's not worth it along there. Oh, I'm getting shorter. Raising my chair. So when someone new approaches you, it's a very stressful thing for them. It's
Yeah,
something for you where you're like, well, I don't. Who is this person? And I find that the best encounters like that are from someone with good and positive energy.
oh, for
Because I know a
sure.
lot of people are kind of nervous, and if you show that you're nervous, then the first impression is this person is nervous, and it's kind of silly to just say don't be nervous. But if you come at it like, hey, I this is what I do. Um, I
Mhm.
really liked, if it's at a film festival, I really like what I saw. I really like what you're doing. To me, those are the best encounters I had versus someone that wants to keep you there and pick your brain for 8 hours. And
Right.
I usually bring some of those people aboard when it's a pleasant, nice interaction.
Yeah, interactions are everything. I mean, I'm not the best at it. Um,
Who is?
but I think anybody who can, break the ice, I give them a lot of kudos. Like, I'll always take down your information and contact you. If you kept it short and sweet, you got to have the elevator pitch. You got to know what your skill set is. And I think that's the most important thing when you introduce yourself is don't just say, I love movies.
Dude.
But have you ever made a movie? Like, what do you want to do? Like, my biggest question to anybody whenever I meet them is, what do you want to do? What are
Mm,
your goals? Like, if you've only ever been a production assistant, is that what you want to do for a while? Are you still trying to figure out what your interests are? Um, because if you're fine being a production assistant and have no aspirations, I'm only ever going to ask you to come out as a production assistant, you know?
sure.
But yeah, I think it's really important to introduce yourself. One of my like most common pieces of advice is always say what you are. Don't say I want to be.
Mm,
You can lie a little bit, like don't go around telling people I'm an award-winning director if you've never directed anything. Like
right.
that's a whole face lie,
That's a
but
bit of a stretch, and people are going to remember that.
yeah.
Oh, it's this
But
person. Okay. Yeah.
but if you're
They
gonna say
directed
like, oh,
nothing.
I want to be a cinematographer, you got to follow that up with what are you doing to be a cinematographer?
Right.
Are you taking classes? Have you used any equipment? Are you at least making steps towards experience?
Right.
I think
Anybody
that's
can
really
want something,
grateful.
but you want to see at least that initiative that they've taken the first step.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it's just, I hate to put it this way, but it could be a waste of your time. You don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it can be harder for some people depending on what it is that you want to do. Like, I'm a writer, so it's hard for me to go up to people. I'm never going up to people to try to, like, direct their next project. I more so just want to meet other writers so that we can exchange work with each other.
Hmm.
So I'll be like, yeah, my forte is comedy. I'm I'm doing short form a lot. Would you ever want to share scripts, or is there any chance you might want to co-write something? Because you have to get other people's feedback. Like, you're wasting time if you're not getting feedback on a script before you go into production.
Right.
Because a lot of people who get on your production, they just want to be there. It's sad to say, but like, I've worked with a handful of people and I've gotten through production and then we cut it all together and I'm like, I'm not happy with this script.
Yeah. All that effort.
Yeah, I'm like, like these are my first like one or two projects in the beginning. And then I met people that I really trusted who I knew could be honest with me. So as a writer, like you got to get advice from people. You have to kind of put your own ego aside. You have to be willing to like kill your heroes, and you might fall in love with a scene, you might fall in love with a character, but it just might not work for the story you're trying to tell. You might just have found that scene or that character sooner than you found the rest of the story.
Right. And you can always repurpose it in something
Yeah.
else. You don't have to. Here goes the chair. You don't. You don't have to, as they say, kill your darlings, or anything like
Yeah,
that, you can
just put it
remove
aside.
it from now, because if it's really good, it'll fit in
Hmm.
something else.
Yeah.
And then you have something to work from when you have writer's block or you're stuck coming up with a new idea. Now, I want to talk really quickly with you about um, the social media aspect of networking, because I feel, from what I've seen, you're very good at that. And you don't just share your work, you share other people's work, which is great. You
Yeah.
shared some of my things a few times. You shared um, some other filmmakers that I guess we both know, but we've never, the three of us have never been in a room. And I just think it's so
Yeah.
great that you're able to highlight others. What tips do you have?
Um, oh gosh, sorry. I mean, as far as networking and sharing other people's work, for me, the biggest part is just to show somebody that I'm supporting them. But it's also a bit of a soft brag because you're like, wow, look what this person is doing. By the way, I know them.
Yeah.
So it kind of works both ways. And when you see somebody share your work, you're more likely to want to share their work. So it's just this great creative cycle that, it's nonstop. A lot of the people I've met through my own films are always doing their own stuff, which is great. I know a lot of people who are just, self-starters. They're always working on something, which can be a bit of a double-edged sword because if we're all trying to work together, it's like, are you busy right now? Like, do you have time for my project? But I think that's a great problem to have. Um, yeah, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. So wherever somebody is sharing their stuff, I try to give it a share as many times as I can. And like you said, we have a lot of friends in common, and some of them we've never been on the same set together, which is cool. And I'll see people who are mutual friends, and I'm like, I don't think they've ever been on a set together. And I think they only know each other through all of our social medias.
Yeah, I've got a couple people like that. Like I've never met this person in my life, but I follow what they do, and before my chair shrinks me out of frame. Uh, well, thanks so much. This has been a great chat. This is Jes Meeley of This Jes Productions, and where can people see your work?
I have most of my work on YouTube, so you can just look for this just one word, THISJES films on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram to follow me and watch my work.
Great, and I'll have links in the description. Jes Meeley, Philly filmmaker.
Mhm.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.